Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday evening, February the 6th, 2022. I hope everyone is safe and doing as well as possible. Another week has passed, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the show tonight. This is going to just be a brief methane update, and I'm just going to keep it short because I'm just really tired. And just going to do methane tonight, and we're going to look at methane for the 4th and the 5th on NOAA, and then here on CAMS their latest methane data is for the 4th, which was Friday, so we'll look at that, and that will be our weekly report. And if you like updates during the week, I recommend that you join us over on my Subscribestar page. The link is in the description box below. I do updates during the week, and I go into more details than I do here on the Sunday show. So here we are on the 4th for the NOAA data for the Met-Op-B, which is the Met-Op-1 satellite. In the morning, this is the 477/469 millibar reading. The mean or average was 1913 parts per billion. The high reading was 2904, so that's a spike. We normally see it around 2400 as the high reading, so we definitely had a spike somewhere, and I don't know where. I don't have access to that information. It was somewhere in the pink zone, and there are a lot of pinks up there. In the afternoon, the mean was 1914 and the high reading was 2489. And then here for the 5th, back to the morning, the mean was 1912. The high reading was 2403. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1914 and the high reading was 2572. Here's the spreadsheet. So for the 5th, that averages out to be 1913 parts per billion, and that was for Saturday. That gives us a decrease overall this week of 1.5. And so here's the little line where it went down slightly for this week. Now last week it had gone up 3.5, and I'm thinking we bottomed out on January 14th at 1909, and so it's typical to have just some ups and downs after we've hit the bottom. That's typical. Now we're 22.5 parts per billion higher than a year ago, and 43.5 parts per billion higher than where we started this on March the 1st of 2019. You can also see that where we are at now is like 1913. That was the peak in October of 2020. So that's how much it's gone up. Our low is at the peak of where we were in October of 2020. So 1914 was the peak. So that's how methane is out of control and just going exponential. I have no idea how high it's going to go this year. Alright, I'll show you what happened this week. Here we were in the report last Sunday, where it was at 1914.5, and that was an increase of 3.5 for that week. So on Sunday, it was at 1916, so that was an increase of 1.5, and notice that that was 31 parts per billion higher than a year ago that day. And then for the 31st, there was no change, and still 31 parts per billion higher. And then on the 1st, it dropped back down to 1914, so a decrease of 2. And then on the 2nd, it dropped down half a part per billion. On the 3rd, it went up half, 0.5 there. On the 4th, it went down 0.5, and on the 5th, it went down another 0.5, giving us an overall decrease for the week of 1.5. So these were just slight decreases in the last few days. So there's that. Now we'll look at the CAMS data. This is the Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Service out of the EU. I have Friday the 4th loaded up, Arctic view, and surface level ready to go. Here's our color ledger at the bottom. So the data is for Friday, and the forecast period is Saturday through Tuesday. Now occasionally CAMS will get behind on posting, usually it's methane and carbon dioxide, but as soon as they start posting new data, I'll be recording that and posting it on my Subscribe Star channel. We can see it's still billowing here around Komsomolets and further down in the North Kara Sea, and there's this look at this coming up from Russia and over Novaya Zemlya and the Kara Sea, and these areas in Russia that are really high readings, and also the Scandinavian area has been high. It looks like it's going down a little bit in the forecast period. We're also seeing here on the coastline of Alaska near Koktovik, that's billowing as well. And independent releases here in the East Siberian Sea, also see in the Laptev Sea, and see these waves just fling out all the way across the Arctic. We're also seeing in North Dakota this huge area. This is always going off. There's a lignite coal mine there that's the source of that big methane blob there. We're seeing more greens come in, creeping into the Arctic. So that's a lower reading. Now we'll go to the North Pole view. Here we can see the whole northern hemisphere from this vantage point. you can see Spain and Portugal are filled up. The UK, parts of Europe there. Here's the Persian Gulf, that's filling back up. Here's India. It's still spilling out over the Bengal Bay, although it doesn't look as heavy as it has. Here's China. See these waves moving out from China, and the dark. See how it goes all the way down into southern Asia there. And then North America is looking just pretty awful. Just a huge blob from Texas over to the East Coast. Now, they had that big storm that just went through from Texas and all the way across over to the East Coast. And so it was a huge long line of rain, snow, ice that went across. And so whenever a lot of moisture gets dumped like that, a few days later it'll show up as a big black blob as far as methane. So I think that's why we're seeing that there. And then California still filling up. I live in the Reno, Nevada area, and we had the driest January on record with not a drop of rain and no snow for all of January. And this week they're forecasting that we're going to be 10 degrees warmer than normal. And so that's not looking very good for summer. If it's already 10 degrees warmer and it's the 1st of February, what's it going to be like this summer? And the fires, I'm really not looking forward to this summer. I watched a very good video this morning. It was from Jim Massa, who's an oceanographer. He does Science Talk. It was on YouTube, and it was about the oceans and the tipping points. And he said that the tipping point for ocean heating, where past the point of no return, which was reached in 1995. And so since then it's just been going up, and so everything's kind of baked in the cake. Okay, here's the Antarctic now. So everything's kind of baked in the cake, and we're just kind of riding things out as things collapse. And as the Earth systems collapse, the human systems collapse, and also the human bodies and all life on the planet. But we just can't get the nutrients out of the food, and the air is all polluted and toxified, and everything is just, we're going down. And I know that other people can feel it too. But I do believe that God will give you the supernatural protection and the supernatural energy to do whatever it is you were called to do, if you call on Him for that. I do believe that, because God can override anything. So here we are in the Antarctic. We've got a little bit of this navy blue down here, which is a lower reading, but it just goes away. It's temporary. That navy blue is 1800 parts per billion. This next blue, this lighter blue, is 1820. And then when you get into 1840, it's the aquas, you can see that coming up here along this western peninsula. This is the Larsen B ice shelf and the Larsen C. It's also popping up beside this island right there in the Weddell Sea and along the Brunt ice shelf. Also here at the Amory ice shelf, we can see it coming up. Also at the northern coastline there. So it's still coming up. Now we'll go to the global view. See the blues. We've got quite a bit of the dark blue here in the Pacific. That, like I said, that represents a lower reading, but if methane's going back up, then these blues will not be here for long. They'll be dissipating. Still seeing the white spot here near Beijing in China. That represents methane that's higher than the 10,000 parts per billion, which is where the cutoff point is on this chart. And the highest reading is a range between 2160 and 10,000 parts per billion. So it's quite a range, and you can see them all around. Now we'll go to 500 HPA. Look at this. See all the dark. It just covers this whole Arctic region, and see it comes way down. See, it's even coming down into the Mexico area. I haven't seen it come down that far before, the dark. We have, as far as right here in North America, we've got dark here in southern Brazil, also in Africa. See, it's come down to Egypt, North Africa there, and down across India. Normally this stays further up, this really dark, the higher readings. Here's total column. This is the total reading of methane through all the layers of the atmosphere. China, we have the highest readings, and then got some over Japan, and some over the Philippines, India, parts of Africa, here South America, and then lots of reds. So that's my report for tonight, and I want to just share just a short psalm, just as a psalm of encouragement. Psalm chapter 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff, which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Psalms chapter 1. So that's just something to think about. So, time is short. If you haven't given your life to Jesus Christ, I highly recommend it before it's too late. So I love you all. Hope you have a good week. And I'm praying for you. Until next time, God bless you. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Good night.